Hour on the station that's your easy choice. 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Connie Miller with DeWitt Savings Bank. Good morning, Connie. How are you?
I'm great, Seth.
Very good. We need to preface everything we are talking about today is not an April Fool's prank. Okay, so if you see this online later, these are not April Fool's jokes. These are real topics.
Yes.
Yeah. And kind of like very real topics.
Very sadly real topics.
Yeah, sure. And you know, Connie, we don't have a conversation with you if we're not talking scams or fraud, things of that nature. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm usually the bearer of bad news, but it's things that we can watch out for and try to prevent in our community, and that's our goal. So it seems like fraud comes in bursts, and it will be the same thing for a while and then move on to the next fraud. And lately, throughout the country, we're seeing check fraud, and we've had it at our bank. And there's different ways they can do it. Some of it is called check washing, where they get a hold of your check and then they wash off using chemicals, maybe the payee, or sometimes they'll put their name as the person who's remitting the check, take your account holder name off, but they use the check to pay for their goods and services. And we've seen some very large dollar amounts on them too.
Yeah, I had the investigator for the Piatt County Sheriff's Office in probably last summer talking about this. This was big in Piatt County. They'd seen a lot of this.
And that's something and they've started making software so they can create checks. So if they get your bank routing number and your account number, they can create checks that look like they're your check.
Oh, really?
And so there are ways to prevent this. We don't know how they're getting these checks in the first place, but a lot of people suspect maybe it's your outgoing mail. If you leave a flag up to let the mailman know that you have mail to go out, that's like ripe for thieves to go steal your mail. That happened to my boss a few years ago. He lived in Iowa, and he had a country mailbox, had the flag up. His wife had paid all the bills. A young woman took all of their mail and washed all of the checks and put her name on it as the payee and deposited it. So it was really easy for the police to find her.
Oh.
But and she did go to jail.
Sure.
But so a lot of times that's what ends up happening. They do usually find the person because they might have them on video at a store trying to present that check. Or they have to show some kind of ID. Now, in some of the cases that we've seen the fraud, the retailer is the one getting burned because they didn't require any ID. They just took a check and it's fraudulent.
Right.
So our person if you report it right away, within 2 days of the fraud showing up on your account, that means no more than $50 you're liable for. If it's over that, up to 60 days, it's up to $500 that you could be liable for.
Wow.
So check your accounts. Every bank is different. Every situation is different. Sometimes things are not deemed as fraud if you haven't been careful with your checkbook and you leave it out and a kid, one of your grandkids writes a check.
Right.
That's not fraud.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you've let them use it before, it could be, I'm not saying it's not fraud, but it could be considered not fraud because you've let them do that before. So secure your mail. There's those blue mailboxes you can put your mail in. Make sure you're using those instead of leaving it on your front porch with the flag up. Put it in a secure mailbox or take it to the post office to drop it off. But also, so many banks, including DeWitt Savings, we have online bill pay. You can do all your bill payments right online for free. And it means you either get on your phone or on your computer, and you just have to put in the name of the company that you want to send the money to, your account number, and it will send automatically. So you
Right,
don't have to
right.
worry about that.
Yep, sure, sure. Well, and you know, to that end, I mean, it feels like every conversation AI eventually comes into play, but it feels like one of those situations, you know, I think of like a Facebook marketplace situation where you buy just something innocent, you know, a play table for kids, or, you know, a power tool or something like that. Innocent purchase, right? You cut a check to that person, they can probably turn that put into AI, clean off that check, and find a way to print that thing out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's another thing when you're doing the marketplace, there's so many different ways you can get ripped off. That's one of them. If you bring a check in, you can have a counter check written at most banks. They'll let you do that too, where it's
I think in the past you've recommended just paying in cash for those things.
you can pay in cash, because then they don't have your Venmo account too, if you're paying that
Sure.
way. And also some people say just pay me ahead of time, and then they're not there, or the item's not there. So look at the reviews for that person, determine if this is a legitimate person. If you purchased from them before and they seem honest, it should be fine. But if not, you might want to wait, meet them, and hand them the cash when you get the item.
Sure, sure. Any other instances of check scams you've noticed, Connie?
Well, I'd say the like you said, the computer printing now seems to be the most prevalent. But people are getting these out of people's garbage. If you're done with your checks, even if they're canceled checks and they come home with you, they get mailed. If you still get a statement, they get mailed to you. Shred them. Shred everything. Don't keep things. Don't throw things away. People go through your garbage, and with the computerized checks too, they're just taking the numbers off of your checks, like you said, and putting them on a new check. They can do that and print it out. One other thing that I learned, though, that I thought was sort of interesting, they talked about using gel pens instead of ballpoint pens, because ballpoint ink is easier to erase than gel pens.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No idea.
So I didn't know that.
Well, and I always thought ballpoint pens were kind of the standard for professionalism or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So I found
interesting.
that really interesting.
That is interesting. That is interesting.
And I was talking to a young woman who told me she only writes in blue pen too. So if someone were to defraud her, someone should be like, that's not mine. I only use blue pen.
There you go.
That was pretty interesting.
And not a lot of people use blue pen anymore, right? So that's kind of I mean, I shouldn't say not a lot of people, but it feels like anytime you get something, it's written out in black ink, right?
I think you're right.
Which kind of is distinguishable. That's kind of a distinguishable trait of like, this is not something I do ever, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was pretty interesting.
Sure.
And like we said, use secure mailboxes. I know some people who lock their mailbox so people can't get into it. Only the post office can. But also, if you have this happen to you, contact the bank right away. Keep checking your accounts. It's a good practice. Check it every day or every other day. See what's coming and going. And you report this to the police. It's very important. On several of these frauds that we've had with checks, the police have gotten involved, and they can figure out a lot. So, and if you think it might have gone through the post office too, the postal inspector is a great person to talk to as well, and let them know what's happening. Yeah.
And I think it's just that tracking is really important that you talked about, making sure you're checking your on, because the online stuff anymore is so easy, just to find out where your money's going and all of those things. So,
and if something happens like that, we can close your account. Most likely that money will be we'll give a provisionary credit while they're doing the investigation, and then we reopen a new account for you.
Which that's a hassle, because if you've tied your account to like you talked about, the automatic payments for say electric bills or internet and all those things, for sure. But also that's, like you said, that's a safety net, so. Yeah.
It is. It's a safety net, but also if people get your account info, the fact that you can close your account so quickly, reopen it, and still pay bills is it's a hassle, but it's also a blessing that you could do that.
I just know there's a handful of people out there listening to this and being like, if somebody gets into my account, the joke's on them, that sort of thing. So, but anyways, with that, Connie, it's always good to keep yourself safe. Any other check scams we've missed that you want to put out there for us?
Not really. I would say that some people this time of year, you're getting your refunds, and people know that. So that's another reason why they might wait to get to do a check, to do some check fraud with you,
Okay.
is when they know you're going to have a big balance.
Gotcha.
too.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Connie, I tell you, let's take a break. Go ahead and come back with some more. How do folks reach out to you about whether it's scam trends? Maybe they suspect they've been a scam attempted against them, and they just want to run it by you. How do they do those things?
Yeah, that would be great. The number at the bank is 217-935-9470. They can ask for Connie. If I'm not available, Pam Jameson, who is our deposit operations officer, she deals with a ton of fraud all day long.
Sure. Very good. Awesome. Well, Connie, on that note, I tell you, let's break. Come back with some more. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, our guest in studio today. More to come with Connie on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. We start the day in the red with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. May corn opening 452.5, down 5 1/4. July corn down 5 1/4. 463. December new crop 479, down 5 1/4. May beans 1159, down 12. July beans down 11, 1175, and November new crop 1150, down 7 1/2. May Chicago wheat 601 3/4, down 14 1/2. May KC wheat 618, down 17 1/2. May bean meal 316.50, that's up a dime. May bean oil 67.60, down $1.28. Energy market, June Brent crude oil down $1.82, 102.15. Looking at the opening numbers on this Wednesday morning, Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
This is it.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton, talking about continuing to serve the community through new ownership.
Things came together and we reached an agreement to purchase. And as you mentioned, we closed August the 1st. So that's August the 1st. Miller Media Group is now Hart Media Group. And we're continuing to serve the people of Clinton and DeWitt County and Monticello and Bloomington and Decatur and everywhere, because we'll just keep connecting people as we've been doing.
The Hart Media Group looks forward to continuing to serve the community for years to come.
The Big 1520, WHOW Clinton.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, as we talk about scams. And Connie, of course, it is tax time. Folks looking forward to those refunds if they haven't got theirs already. I'm sure they're hard at work to get those in before that April 15 deadline. And let's just talk tax scams. Let's start with changes in the tax code for those procrastinators. Maybe some things they need to think about here as they file their taxes this year.
Yes. Well, we had the one big beautiful bill, and there were some tax changes. Most of them sort of positive. I mean, my marginal tax bracket actually went down, and our taxes were less this year. And one of the biggest pieces was our standard deductions. It's 31.5 for a married couple right now, and then for single filers it's 15,750. But another thing that really helped this year for our family was the SALT deduction. That stands for state and local taxes deduction. It used to be a cap of 10,000. That would be your state income taxes, your property taxes, and then interest on your home if you have a mortgage, capped out around 10,000. Now it's 40,000 for married filing jointly. So that's a huge increase. So there's more people itemizing than there used to be.
Okay.
Because of that. But also some other fun things for people who maybe are workers who receive tips. There's no tax on tips up to 25,000 for those who actually report them. And then no tax. And you know, this is a great I want to caveat this, that when people go to get a loan, and let's say they're a server and their W-2 shows they make $12,000, but they're really making 40, that's a problem because they're not reporting on their taxes. So we don't have anything to verify what their income really is. So this gives you an opportunity to report all your taxes and not have to pay tax on or all your tips and not have to pay taxes on them.
Sure.
And then it shows up for when you're looking to buy a house or get a car loan.
So you need to report that.
Yes, because it shows up as income. And
Okay.
you need to have the income for them to loan you the money.
Sure.
So it's sort of a good thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Also, we have no tax on overtime up to $12,500. I know there's a lot of people, especially in medical and law enforcement, who do a lot of overtime. So this is good news for them. And then we have an enhanced senior deduction. It's 6,000 additional deduction for if you're over 65. As of January was it 2nd of 61. If you're born after January 2nd of 61 or before then, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You get it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah. And then we also had something new this year is an auto loan interest deduction. If you bought your car, I believe it's in 2025, or it was after December 31st of 2024, and there's certain types that you can buy, you can deduct your interest on your car.
Oh, no kidding. All right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So there were some new things.
So, Connie, for the person at home that's saying, I haven't filed my taxes yet, but I usually just kind of file them on my own. We use those online programs or whatever, whatever software they might have. Are they going to be prompted for these things, or do they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's all in there. They have all the updated information is in there, and the system's going to ask them to put like their state. It automatically shows their state taxes, their property taxes, all that. You enter it, and it will compute for you which is the better to take, the standard or the itemized deduction. And that's something, whereas for a while people stopped keeping receipts for their charity because they knew they're just going to do the standard deduction. It might be time to start holding on to those receipts again. Make sure you keep track of that.
Sure. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. So a lot of good stuff there. We need to go over this like at the first of the year when,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Not
all the changes.
Yeah. I mean, no offense, but 2 weeks to filing, probably a lot of folks are like, well, I already filed. And by the way, if they have filed,
they can amend their return.
Okay.
There's a way to do it. You can even do it on like H&R Block or TurboTax.
All right. All right.
We used a software called eFile this year. And I really liked it. It was more basic.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So, if you just
and coming from someone who's worked with numbers all day and this stuff, to say it's pretty basic, I mean,
I liked it. It was easier for me than all these questions and moving around. It showed me very like, here's the forms, here's where everything's going in it. And I like that myself.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
But I was hoping to talk a little bit about tax scams because we're seeing
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I personally, I mentioned this to you before. I was on YouTube and I saw some things and I'm like, that's not right. And they're telling people to do some illegal things online so you can get better tax, get refunds, and they're not real. So I wanted to just warn people about these, and I've seen them on social media as well. But one of the biggest one is overstating their withholding, making up a fake job, a fake W-2, and putting that in their taxes. So it looks like they earned money and then they had this big withholding, or increasing the actual amount on their withholding. But the problem is they have software that settles up exactly how much went to your tax ID number, so they know if you're lying.
Yeah, right.
So you're going to get caught.
By the way, this goes back to, and I know it's a joke, but I always wondered this, like every individual has to fill out their own tax documentation, right? And then, you fill it out and maybe it's, maybe it's completely accurate and you're in the clear, but maybe you mess something up and the government, somehow knows that you messed it up. Like, why can't the government just tell you what you owe, given that basically they have all your
That's
information.
a really good question.
Yeah. Do you know the answer to that? I guess.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's just the way that it was codified into law, how we are supposed to pay taxes.
Mm.
There's even like laws prohibiting allowing the IRS to do tax software and to let us do it online. And that was based on lobbyists who wanted money for this tax software, and they encouraged lawmakers to do that.
Mm.
So technically, the IRS cannot have the forms online and be fillable or any kind of software.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
sure, but I mean, like if they have all this information
Why
already,
can't they do it?
Yeah.
For you.
yeah, that's always my thing.
That's a really good question because you'd think they could just aggregate it. This is your social number. These are this is what came in for you. This
Yeah.
is what you owe.
I
That
mean,
makes a lot of sense.
and like even without AI, we've got all these data centers. We've got all this. They've got all this information. I don't know.
You're right. That's
yeah.
actually a good idea. But like people don't realize that like your W-2 goes to the IRS
Mhm.
and there's a W-3 that's from the employer and it shows all the money that was withheld for you
Yeah.
and how much you earned.
Sure.
And they tie that to your tax return.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think they realize that these like fake ones, it's going to spit out. It's not tied to anything. There's
Sure.
no W-3 that it's tied to.
Yeah.
So
Not that I'm here for more Big Brother heavy-handedness. I'm just, I feel like it's a legitimate
Yeah.
question.
but
All right, Connie, I hate to do this to you. We have gone nearly past time. 1 minute. I want you to talk about your Easter egg hunt on
yes.
Friday, please.
Yes. Just want to invite everybody. We're doing an Easter egg hunt, our annual Easter egg hunt at DeWitt Savings Bank in the field just south of the bank there.
mhm.
It's Friday, April 3rd at 2 p.m. and we have the Easter Bunny there for pictures.
Mhm.
And that's our Clinton location. On Saturday, which is we're going to be in Mowequa. The Easter Bunny will be hopping down there from
Mhm.
10 to noon and do pictures there, and they'll have candy for the kids
Sure.
on Saturday.
All right.
there.
Sounds good. Very nice. Well, on that note, Connie, let's get the information for how folks follow along with all things DeWitt Savings Bank.
Yeah, if they have any questions about anything we talked about today or anything, they can call me at 217-935-9470.
Very good. Connie Miller with DeWitt Savings Bank, my guest in studio this morning. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, along with 92.3 FM Clinton and 106.5 FM Bloomington Normal.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm